Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 9 o'clock Friday night, and what does that mean, Mark?
It means we're actually starting on time.
Yes, we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Trucking to Heaven with
your host, Felix and Dr. Mark.
And Dr. Mark, we are here live as always. We hope to get some phone calls tonight.
That's what I was just going to say. We would really love to hear from you. Our number is 516-665-1860. And the Skype address is, Felix?
Trucking to Heaven. And our email addresses are mark@truckingtoheaen.com and
Felix@truckingtoheaen.com.
And if you email us, we will try to answer it tonight. And if not, we will answer it in the next show.
You know, Felix, I think we should tell everybody what the thrust of today's conversation is going to be. Of course, you know, folks, that we will discuss anything you like, but we have a special topic for tonight.
Tonight's topic is, are we shutting down, referring to the government? Will politics win out again?
That's right. The next time, hopefully, we're on the air, which will be Monday, barring any mishaps on our end, will be the 30th of September, and on Tuesday, the government is supposed to shut down, I believe.
Unless they come up with an agreement. And I don't really know if they will. All this is over Obamacare. And once again, I think a lot of people don't know what Obamacare is.
You know, Obamacare is supposed to take effect on Tuesday. I might have made a mistake. Obamacare starts on Tuesday.
Well,
you can purchase it. I think that as far as the government shutdown, that's a few weeks down the road, toward the end of October.
I'm not sure about the date. I think it's about the same. There's only a couple of days left.
But still, you know, I really think that people should wait and see what's going to be with Obamacare before they start action to defund it. You know, it is a law already, which means they would have to have a vote to override the law. And even then, I believe Obama said he would veto it anyway. So who knows?
Well, Obamacare actually
affordable health care
becomes effective on January 1st. That's when you're going to have to. That's when these policies will go into effect.
October 1st.
October 1st is when you can
start buying it, purchasing it. Yes.
But they don't become effective till January 1st. And the whole idea of Obamacare, why they think it will reduce costs, because if they make everybody purchase health care, the percentage of people who are sick and are going to be a real expense to the healthcare providers will drop.
Well, that's why they're starting this push to get young people who think they're invincible. The key is if you could sell it to the young people and they purchase some form of the affordable health care, okay, it offsets. It may be a little more expensive for them, but it offsets the cost. For seniors, it will be less. And from what I was led to believe, if you live in a big metropolis or big state like New York or California, you might even see your premiums drop.
I don't know. I try to look it up online and read about it. But they're not going to have any kind of pricing or any information in reality until October 1st. You know, I don't know why they wouldn't let us preview it, but they're probably still working on it.
You know, I did see, and I'm sure many people read it in the paper. I'm sure the New York Times, the Washington Post, and other newspapers had it. I know they had it on the internet. They had a schedule showing the various policies that you can buy. There's a bronze policy, a silver policy, a platinum policy, a gold policy. I think the platinum policy is something like it picks up to 90% of the medical cost if you are in a hospital or seeing a doctor, and you are responsible for 10%. And when you think about that, people who are on Medicare, who are looking for a secondary carrier because they don't have a secondary carrier, and according to Medicare picks up 80%, and you're responsible for the other 20%.
That's correct.
But if you purchase one of these other policies for a senior could go for a bronze policy where the government would pick up to 60%, but the bottom line is Medicare already picks up 80%, so all you need is a policy where they will pick up about probably the least,
I'm not quite sure, but I know right now Medicare, there are quite a few very good policies that go along with Medicare.
That's true. And I can vouch for this because in another little more than a week, I will be turning 65, and I know my wife and I have been inundated with literature from Emblem Health, from HMOs, from United Med, whatever it is, from AARP also, explaining the various policies that they have available.
And I don't know if those are really going to be affected by Obamacare. I haven't really read anything about it. But they're definitely, but again, if you want a really good policy as a senior citizen, 65 and over, where you're not going to have any expenses, it's going to cost you $300 some odd dollars, and then your Medicare is over $100. So you're looking, and then of course you need to have your your prescription plan. You're looking at paying $500 a month as a senior. I don't see that being a bargain at all. I mean, the benefits are good, but you wind up paying quite a bit.
Well, like I said, we'll have to wait and see. But the important thing is seeing how many young people will be buying into this affordable health care to make it affordable.
Well, for one thing, I don't think they're going to have a choice. Either they buy it or they pay a tax. Most
young people probably, like many of the businesses, most young people would say, hey, they feel they are invincible. Nothing's going to happen to them. They don't look and see they could get into a car accident. They could somehow slip into a coma or catch a virus. How many people actually do plan their medical for the future? I mean, it's a tough decision. It's almost like buying life insurance. You're buying life insurance as a young person to provide for your family should anything happen to you. But most young people think they're going to live forever.
Yeah, that's true. But the medical insurance is important. Well, we're probably one of the only, we are probably the only country in the world that's from a first-tier country that doesn't provide the universal health care.
Very true.
Every other country, from Canada to Israel,
England, France. I know.
Even Brazil.
And
some of the other countries in South America provide. Costa Rica, they all provide universal health care.
It was amazing. You could say a lot about the French, but I saw a special a few months ago, and they showed an American couple living in France of their own choice. The woman had just given birth to a baby, and she was given a nurse for 2 weeks, absolutely free, no cost to them. A nurse for 2 weeks. Her husband took off the first month, and she was on maternity leave, and they were still getting salaries. I don't understand this. If other countries can do it, why is it so difficult for us?
Because those other countries, God forbid, this curse word that we have in our mind.
Socialism.
The democratic socialistic countries. What is so bad about that word socialistic? Socialism. Socialism, come on. Does that sound so bad? Repeat it. Socialism. It's a democracy. People chose to have that type of government.
You know, when you think of socialism, okay, you think of sacrificing a little bit. You're being asked to sacrifice a little bit for the general good. Okay, it's like Immanuel Kant in philosophy, for the greater good. You know, the sacrifice of some for the benefit of many. Yet I talk to people, one of my friends, who is dead set against Obamacare.
Oh, that feels good.
Oh, dead set against Obamacare. Dead set against this president and anything that he wants to do. The word socialism scares him. I think people think of socialism as, you know, the child of communism. You know, that in communism, according to the Communist Manifesto by Marx and Lenin, there was going to be an inner circle which would hold power for 5 years and then turn over power to the people. Well, you see how that worked. Okay, the people in power didn't want to give anything up, and that's why you had the kind of government that you had in Russia and in Poland at the time. Okay, any communist country. But you also saw...
There were never any communist countries, because none of them were really communists. There were more dictatorships or... there were dictatorships. Or
That's true. In Yugoslavia, you had Marshal Tito. In Russia, you had a whole succession of premiers, okay, that were also members of the inner circle, by the way.
But I'm saying, but there was never any true communism. It never existed.
I think what it is here is that many people, like my friend, don't want to pay for, the way he puts it exactly, the illegal aliens that get all their care for free. He said they don't have to pay anything, he said, but they can collect, they're on Medicaid, they get, food stamps, these are all the things that they get, he said, and they're working off the books, obviously, illegals, doing jobs that Americans don't want to do, and they're getting all these benefits, and who's paying for it? You know, Joe Schmo. This is according to him.
Yeah, he's right. There goes the Long Island Railroad.
You know, I used
right on time, 9:13 p.m.
Felix, I used to tell my students, you know, you go back to the old... Well, that's all right. I'll talk over the train.
Okay.
When you go back to the Old Testament and fratricide, when Cain slew Abel because he was jealous, because Abel was the favored one in God's eyes, and God says, "Where is your brother?" And he said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And I used to tell my students, the answer that we should give when somebody asks that question is yes. Because you say, there by the grace of God go I. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a job and you're lucky enough to have an income, yes, I know we're asked to pay a lot. But the bottom line is, what do you do for the person who can't get a job or who's working but doesn't have insurance? Take, for example, Home Depot. Just furloughed, I think, 20,000 part-time workers because they couldn't afford the health care under Obamacare. So they're no longer full-time workers. Now they're part-time workers, and Home Depot doesn't have to give them benefits, which means they don't have to provide them with medical. You know, you think back to the Republican debates. Think back to the Republican debates when Ron Paul was asked the question of